Hello, everybody. My name's Avin.
I'm Michael Hall.
And I'm Gabriel Peterson.
And we wanted to highlight for you today some of the new learning paths that have come out on learn.arm.com. There's been a lot of new releases since we last talked with you, so we wanted to each highlight a few that we thought were particularly interesting and worth talking about. The first one I wanted to highlight is build and run a virtual large language model on Arm servers. This will walk you through being able to set up a model, get it onto your local system with Hugging Face, and be able to run an open AI compatible server. Really great getting started guide, very useful. Next one I wanted to highlight is the perform sentiment analysis on X on Arm-Based EKS Clusters. This is actually a really good advanced tutorial that goes over a lot of different things. You'll be spinning up a Kubernetes cluster on Amazon. You'll be using Elasticsearch and Grafana to be able to analyze social media posts, do analysis on that, and hook it all up with Prometheus to a Grafana dashboard to monitor everything. Very good, in-depth, advanced tutorial that highlights a lot of awesome learnings. The last one I wanted to highlight is the install guides. We actually have a ton of different install guides that help you get set up with all sorts of different developer tools and quickly be able to set up on your Arm-based systems whatever you need. So if you need to set up Helm, Docker, and you're not quite sure what's the best recommended path for installing it or setting it up, go check out our install guides. We add a lot of these and update them all the time.
All right. The first one I wanted to talk to you about today is about using PyTorch to build and train models. I really like to dive deep into the details of any technology that I'm learning. And I've done a lot of learning paths where you use an off-the-shelf model to do a chatbot or image classification or something like that. But this one actually shows you how those models are made and how you can do it yourself with your own data. In this learning path, we're using a predefined data set of handwritten numbers, and you're going to build a model. It'll actually show you the Python code using PyTorch, how to define how that model is going to work. And then it'll walk you through the process of creating the weights, training the models, checking the outputs, refining it over time, and then how you can save and export that model so that it can be used standalone on its own. So if you really want to learn more about how models are made and how they're trained and how you can do this with your own data sets, this is a great learning path for you to get started with. Another one that I found really interesting was using MediaPipe to build an Android application that has facial recognition and gesture recognition built into the application itself. This one uses Kotlin as the programming language, and it'll walk you through all of the code, all of the configurations, where to download the data sets to do that recognition so that you can build this into your own application, which is really cool. And the last one, something that I just found out about, is this application called Daytona. And Daytona lets you manage different developer environments, both on your own development machine, like your laptop, as well as remote instances. A remote server that you control. It can even integrate with Amazon's AWS, so it'll spin up a new EC2 instance for you based on what your environment is defined to be, so that you can do your remote development on something like a Graviton box on EC2 itself. So really cool tool. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but going through the learning path, it looks really interesting, and I'm definitely going to be giving that a try soon.
All right. And then for the three learning paths that I wanted to highlight, the first is to run a .NET Aspire application on Arm-based VMs on AWS and Google's cloud platform. So this will show you how to use the Aspire developer tools, and using those, create a .NET application, modify the code on Windows on Arm, and deploy to the cloud in any or either of those cloud providers. For the next one, it shows you how to run the VVenC H266 encoder on Arm servers. So if you want to do some video encoding on Arm servers in the cloud, this is a great one to to learn how to do. It can really, if you're dealing with a lot of video, it can really help to offload some of that workload from your machine. And then lastly, for more advanced developers, we have a learning path on how to run an end-to-end attestation flow on Arm's confidential computing architecture. So it'll show you how to deploy a workload on Arm V9A, the AEM-based FVPs for the Arm E extensions. And this one's nice because it also gives an overview of the architecture before going ahead and actually taking you through the steps to run it. And so that wraps up the 3 I wanted to show off.
That's just some of the awesome content that you can find on learn.arm.com. You can find a link to that, as well as links to all the specific ones we talked about today below in the description, as well as you should consider joining our Arm developer program, where you can get signed up for our mailing list and get some awesome, useful information, join our development community, and get all sorts of great resources. If you're interested in that, there will also be a link down below. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next time.
Later.